fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 2036. And tonight we're talking about royal roots or family folklore, the truth behind ancestral claims to nobility. And this is something that people have been asking about. Am I related to royalty? How do I find out? Well, let's talk about that tonight. And I have to apologize for being on an hour late. I was on a presentation that was only supposed to go for an hour and it went for 2. So my apologies for those of you having to catch up with the recording and everything. So have you ever heard a family story that you might be related to royalty? Maybe there's a rumor about noble blood running through your veins. Well, today we're diving into the truth behind these claims, how common they really are, how to research them, and whether you could have a royal connection hiding in your family tree. Did you know that millions of people can trace their lineage back to Europe royalty, even if they don't have a title to prove it? Yes. So why do so many people think they have royal ancestry? Well, royal families have lots of descendants. Many monarchs have numerous children, both legitimate and illegitimate. Over centuries, their bloodlines spread across the world. The mathematical inevitability of ancestors. Every person has 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. Hang on, I can keep going there for you like that. 16 second great-grandparents, 32 third great-grandparents, 64 fourth great-grandparents, 128 fifth great-grandparents, and 256 sixth great-grandparents. And you can keep going. Every time you go back a generation, you double the numbers. So if you go back 800 to 1,000 years, mathematically, you should have gone over 1 million ancestors. So odds are one of them was a noble. Why European ancestry makes royal claims more common? Monarchies in Europe kept detailed family records. Intermarriage between noble families kept the bloodlines traceable. Countries like England, France, and Germany have accessible records for royal genealogy. I know, you're going, wow, we could be related to royalty. According to mine, actually, we'll talk about that in a moment. I do have a royal story. So separating fact from fiction, are you really related to royalty? Common signs that your claim may be real. Family records that trace back to a well-documented noble surname. An ancestor who lived or worked for nobility, like servants, advisors, or military leaders, often had noble ties. A recurring family crest, coat of arms, or inherited title. Common myths that aren't proof. My last name is King or Duke, so I must be royalty. Yeah, no. Many surnames were given for occupations, not bloodlines. We have another one. Myth is we have an old family story that we're descended from a prince. Most noble connections get exaggerated over time. Another myth is my family has a coat of arms, so we must be noble. Many coats of arms were regent-based, not individual family-based. That's going to be interesting. Just thinking of a couple of family crests that I have. How to research your own royal ancestry. Start with your family tree. Use ancestry.com, myheritage.com, familytreesearch.org to trace your family back as far as possible. Remember, start with what you know and build on it and verify the records as you go. Step 2, look for noble surnames. Compare your ancestors' names to historical noble families. Step number 3, check historical royal lineages. Resources like Burke's Peerage, Genie.com, and National Archives can help. And in step 4, consider DNA testing. Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, and all the other ones that are out there may connect you to famous historical figures. Let's see. What else have I got in there? No, that part doesn't apply to that. Some famous people have discovered their royal ancestry. Now, I tell you, if you can find on YouTube, go to YouTube and type in "Who do you think you are?" It is actually a channel in there. This program started in England, and yes, America does have their own version. If you go and watch some of those things, some of those shows, you'll find how many celebrities are actually related to royals. I love watching Who Do You Think You Are and how they get their lineage traced back and all of that sort of thing. And I think it was Brooke Shields was it Brooke Shields? I think Brooke Shields was the one that they traced back to Charlemagne being her 42nd great-grandfather. 42nd! They went back to that. And then Valerie Bertinelli had royal connections as well. On one part of her family, they found where she connected with nobility and was able to trace that back. And I can't remember who they traced it back to. You also got like Beyonce was connected to Henry II of England through distant ancestry. Angelina Jolie is descended from French royalty. George Clooney is a distant cousin of Abraham Lincoln, who had noble roots. And so the moral of the story is, if you're not officially royal, your genealogy may still be connect you to fascinating historical figures. Also, if you use myfamilysearch.org, they have a website called, that's a good question. What's it called? relativefinder.org. And relativefinder.org, if you put in your familysearch.org login information, it takes your profile from familysearch.org, and you have to have a minimum of 4 generations. Go back a minimum of 4 generations. Then they take that and they compare. They've got some algorithms that compare all of these different family trees that are within their within the familysearch.org website, I guess. And they pull out things like, are you related to a famous entertainer? Are you related to astronauts? Are you related to any presidents or first ladies? And because it's done with the LDS, are you related to any of the LDS people that are in there as well? Are you related to European royalty? Are you related to writers? Let's see, authors, poets. What are some of the other ones? There's science and math in there. So the STEM people, astronauts have come up. Just famous people in different areas, athletes and all of that sort of thing. So when I do the International Genealogical Historic Research course every year, that's the last week of July, when we do that, they actually have a group created for everybody that's enrolled in the course in that whole week program. And one of the competitions you have to do is find out how many people at the conference you are related to. So we go into Relative Finder, we log into the group so that we're in there, so we can see who we're related to and what sort of relatives we have. And you can separate it down to just, I just want to look at royal European royalty. I just want to look at presidents. I just want to look at this, that, and the other thing. So you can actually narrow it down to just the people in the group. And then the idea is that you reach out to these people and you make a connection with them. Now, being the genealogists that we are, we always, it just amazes me. I get emails from some of the people, and I send emails as well and say, according to Relative Finder, we are supposedly 10th cousins, 4th cousins, 5th cousins, and all of whatever the relationship comes up as within this group on this Relative Finder thing. It's the coolest thing. And they actually have a prize for the person who makes the most connections, which is really cool because some of them, they're like machines sending out these emails to everybody. And we have a copy of the program, and in the program is everybody's email contact information. And you have to check off a box if you want to be on that list. So those people in the program are on that list is saying, yes, I want my email shared to everyone. I want to put it in the program. And some people are, if they happen to be in the same course as that person, because we're on Zoom, are private chatting with some of the people in the class. Hey, supposedly we are related this way. And then you respond back to them, oh, that's really cool. And then you can start conversations that way. But even just to send an email and to get somebody to respond to it, that counts as a connection. And so they have this competition every time they have this conference. And it's just really cool fun to see, one year we had one person made 62 contacts. And I'm supposedly related to her because I was one of the people that she actually ended up winning. And I was one of the ones that responded to her email. And and for 3 years in a row, we were in the same class together every time. We always took the same courses. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go last year, but I'm planning to go this year. And so hopefully I'll get to catch up with her again. So that's one way. And when we were doing this Relative Finder thing, I thought, oh, who else am I related to in this? And they have all the list of categories is like about this long. And so I then went in and I thought, oh, let's have a look at European royalty. What does that show? Now, you have to remember that the British royal family descended from European royalty. And it had me in there as, what was it, 10th cousin to Princess Diana. And then I think it was a 10th cousin twice removed to like the King of England. And the Queen was in there and their kids are in there. I'm going to quickly log in here. I can't show you the whole thing because there are living people on it, and I protect family privacy. I protect my relatives' privacy very well. But they show you can go and have a look at the whole table. But this is how using this, I was able to find out, because you can mimic somebody by using their familysearch.org reference number. So I mimicked my mother-in-law one time, and that's how I found out being the possible 9th great-granddaughter of Richard Warren, who was on the Mayflower. And we also found another connection to Mayflower for her as well. So we're in the process of verifying that and double checking it and all of that sort of stuff. And for some reason, there we go. I was waiting for the sign up window to come in. Sign in. Okay, it's going to take a couple of minutes because it is building. Oh, they've changed the look out of it. So I can show you some of the things. Oh, this will work perfectly. Yep, where are the... Okay, all right, so we're going to go and show you this, because this is a really cool tool, but you can't take it as gospel, because as I've been going through looking at different things, even looking at the tree for how do I get from me to this person over here, going through the tree, there's times when like the mother may be like 10 and their child, there's like a 10-year gap between mother and child. And other ones I have found where the mother was born after the child was born. So there are errors in there. And this is why we use the phrasing when we're talking to other people at IGHR. We use the phrasing of supposedly we are related. We are 10th cousins twice removed or whatever. So let's go show you this, because it's really cool. I've got to find the share screen. That's the one. Okay, we want to go to this one. All right, let's make sure that it's on here. Yep. Okay, so this is my one. And you can see actually, let me go over to that tab. So you can see this is the name of the person. This is the relationship we have with them. This is our common ancestor. And then this is the group that so you can see I'm even got declaration signers. There's the, I have a Mayflower one in there. That's a new one. Oh, look at that. I've got a Mayflower connection for me. So you can actually go over here and you can click on the slide here and you go expand all. And so I can go down and I can see what astronauts am I. And these are all the astronauts that I am supposedly related to and how. And you can see they're very distant cousins. Constitution signers. There's some constitution signers I am supposedly related to. Declaration signers. There you go. There's some ones that I am related to. And, 5th cousin, 7 times removed. Common ancestor was a Cavendish. Let's see. Entertainers. These are all different entertainers from over the years. Look, I've got Glenn Miller. I love the music that we used to have a couple of his records when I was growing up. Oh, and supposedly I'm related to Elvis Presley, Valerie June Carter. Oh my gosh. Jim Henson, the guy from the Muppets. Roy Orbison. Oh, yeah, 1 of 23. Tom Petty. That's really cool. Okay, there's some new ones in there since I was last in here. This is European royalty. So the Cavendish guy is very prominent. So this here is Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away. This is her son here, who's now the King of England. So I'm 13th cousins with the King of England, supposedly, and 13th cousins one time removed with his Princess of Wales, Diana Spencer, Lady Diana, Princess Diana. I've even got Winston Churchill in there. And Bessie Wallace, if I remember correctly, she was the one. who Edward VIII abdicated the throne for. And then this here is the Queen Mother. So there's my connection to royalty, supposedly. Have I proven any of this? No. But once I prove my relatives going back to see if I actually do have a connection with William Cavendish, then from then down, we've got different things that we can then hook up with the well-known family trees that have been done. In fact, what was interesting is that when Princess Diana and King Charles were first dating, when they first got engaged, they actually, I remember in New Zealand, we had one of the women's weeklies, one of the magazines or something actually showed their family trees in there, going back a little bit to show what their cousin, they were actually distant cousins. But what was interesting is that Lady Diana, as she was at the time, actually had more royal blood in her than her to-be husband, who is now the King of England. So that was kind of interesting. I always remember that article, and that was back in the thing. So famous Americans, which ones we got in there? Oh, Charles Lindbergh's in there. Benedict Arnold. Who else is in there? Oh, Robert Edward Lee. Oh, Walter Ellis Disney. Walt Disney. Look at that. 11th cousins 4 times removed, supposedly. And he's in multiple groups. Famous Americans and movie stars. Oh, Wyatt Earp's in there. I love his story. There's, from what I've learned, Jesse James is in there. Susan B. Anthony. Now, she's the one that's on the dollar coin, right? So, yeah, so these are supposed ones. David Crockett. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So these are the LDS people that are here as well. The Mayflower. Who did I say I had? Okay, so I do have one connection. Movie stars. Art Lingley, Elizabeth Taylor, Lucille Ball. Yeah, this one quite. So what's going to be interesting is taking the time to go back through my tree back as far as I can, so I can see if I connect up with any of these people, and then taking their well-known family trees that have been researched out and everything else, and seeing, oh, that's interesting. I've got a relationship with, a supposed connection with Steve McQueen. I have a distant cousin who is not on this list, who was the stuntman for Steve McQueen in The Great Escape. He actually taught, him and his brother actually taught Steve McQueen and a lot of Hollywood stars at the time how to ride off-road on motorcycles. Steve McQueen had an extensive collection of motorcycles that he left to my distant cousin. So it's interesting that I supposedly have a link to him, a distant link. Mary Tyler Moore, I love watching her show. Chris Pratt. So as you can see, the distance is getting longer. So the closest relationship I was with Art Linkletter, around 10th cousins 3 times removed. And again, here's that William Cavendish guy. He shows up a lot. I would love to know what our actual relationship is. Sports figures. Do I know any of these ones? None of those names are familiar to me. Then you've got just stems. Oh, Thomas Edison. Look at that. These are all supposed connections in these again. Oh, look at this. William Cavendish is there again. US presidents. These are the US presidents I am supposedly related to in some way. That's always good. There's a few of them in there. 17. And we've got, what, 47? So 17 out of 47 presidents. But then, of course, you've got some that were in there twice. Look, George Hubert Walker Bush. And son. Ulysses Grant's in there. I haven't looked at these for a while, and they've been updated a little bit. Wives. These are the first ladies that I'm related to. So they always put the closest relationship at the top. Then as you go further down, the further away you're getting from the relationships. Interesting. Now I thought that they had in here. So these are my groups that I belong to of the 3 years, and I don't have any favorites. View featured groups. What featured groups am I looking at? Oh, there's also other ones that I can. So the red ones are my favorite ones. So these are some of the groups that are in there. Some that I can go see, some I can't. We can even have a look at the Prime Ministers of Canada, Prime Ministers of the United Kingdom. That would have been an interesting one. Let's have a look. So these are these ones are closer. Fifth cousin 8 times removed. And here's that Cavendish guy again. I got to find out what my relationship is with this Cavendish guy. But these are the ones that I am supposedly related to, the British Prime Ministers. So, oh, look, Margaret Thatcher's in there. Isn't that interesting? And there's Winston Churchill again. So I have to find how I am related to William Cavendish. So, but that just gives you an idea of that site that you can go and see. But then you still have to do the groundwork, because your tree, you may have verified back only so far. And then the system takes care of the rest to find that common ancestor. And some of the information in the system may be incorrect. So you've got to go verify it so you can get back to that common ancestor. And then, of course, the famous people, their family trees may be recorded back to a certain point. So there could be an area in there that you have to research to find if there's a connection from that common ancestor down to where the tree is certified and known, or verified and known. So you can have a lot of fun with this. As you saw, I have supposedly roots with the British royal family. Who knew? But anyway, some of them I did know. There are some new ones that have popped up in there since I last looked. And this is because more information has been added into familysearch.org based on, so they're looking at different records and everything else and comparing them. So there's been some trees that have been updated with information, which is why we now have more people on my list than I had the last time I looked. And it's been over a year since I last looked, for me anyway. But it's a lot of fun. So that's one thing that you can go, and it's a great thing to go, and it's relativefinder.org, relativefinder.org, and you use your familysearch.org login to get into there. Okay. So are you ready to dig into your own roots? If you want help exploring your ancestry, your family tree detective is here to guide you through the process. And remember, whether you're related to a king or a commoner, your family story is worth discovering. Abso-freaking-lutely. So with that, we are out of here for today. We will be back tomorrow evening at, hang on. I have a mastermind group on tomorrow night. We're going to try and slip in at 5:30 Mountain Time, which will be 4:30 Pacific Time. Only because I finish work at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. I'm going to take Zephy for a walk, then come back, get on that, and then get off that and onto my mastermind thing. So it will be 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time tomorrow evening. So go out and have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konara.